Alright people, good evening. No, it's not evening, it's not, it's morning. It's very early in the morning, it's very dark. It feels like it's evening. Anyway, miserable morning. Hope the day improves. But anyway, welcome to this video where I'm going to run through my favourite short films of the one and only Buster Keaton. And all the short films come from this box set. I remember buying this, and then they bought a Blu-ray box set out of it. I wasn't double dipping. There's all the films from 1917 to 1923. From the early days when he was making films with Fatty Arbuckle to when he went out on his own. 4 discs and a great big fat booklet. Look at that, look at that. That is the sort of thing you put in the toilet and you read it on the toilet, but I haven't. So there's the films. I don't dislike any Buster Keaton film, short film. I enjoy every single one of them. The closest I get to not liking one is the ones he does with Fatty Arbuckle. But even then I don't dislike them, I just think they're okay, they're decent. But when he went out on his own, I enjoyed them all. But I do have 8 that I really enjoy, that I can say they're my absolute favourites. So we'll just jump straight into it, run through these dead quick. None of these films are long, they're short films, they wouldn't be long, would they? Between 18, 25 minutes, I think there's anything over that, but no. Here we go. Number 8 is a film called The Haunted House. Buster plays a bank clerk, and it ends up in a haunted house, which is actually a den of thieves. It's a criminal's hideout, and things that happen in it make it look like it's haunted, but it's just very, very clever and very, very funny. Up until he gets to the haunted house, it's fine, but he gets there and it's a great laugh. Very, very good. That's from 1921. Number 7 from 1920, The Scarecrow. This is about Buster Keaton living in a house with the housemate, and they compete for the same girl. But what I always remember from this film is it's the house that they live in. Everything can be used 2 or 3 times. A mirror, on the back of a mirror will be a picture frame and a picture of somebody. A table will double as something else, and the sink will double as something else. You flip it over and it turns to something else. Very clever, very ingenious, and a great watch. Number 6 from 1923, one of his last silent films, called The Balloonatic. Starts off in, I don't know what you want to call it, a house of horrors, but an amusement house. It has a name because when it comes out of it the name's up there, but I forget what it is. And he goes to an amusement park. Then he ends up in a balloon, in a hot air balloon. He ends up, then he lands, he goes fishing, he tries to fish, he has an incident with some bears, ends up going down the river on a canoe. He'll try and save this girl from this mean looking cow. He walks across the river with his gun, a rifle, goes to shoot, and a shitload of water comes out of it. That's a laugh out loud moment funny, but that's very good. The Balloonatic. Number 5, Neighbours. Young couple, Buster and his girl, they live next door to each other in tenements. Now I'm sure we have the equivalent of a tenement in this country. I don't know what a tenement is, it's American, but they live next door to each other. There's a fence, the families are feuding, and they'll do whatever they can to be together. Lots of going over fences, lots of up and down windows, through windows, up, on top of people. Lots of fun for 1920. Neighbours without the U. Number 4, The Goat. He gets mistaken for a criminal called Deadshot Dan, and lots of running around with a famous scene that even I knew, and apparently it is famous, but it must be famous because I knew of it before, and I knew nothing of Buster Keaton years ago, where the train comes towards the camera, it stops dead and Buster's sitting on the front of it. I must have seen that somewhere because I thought, this is the scene. But lots of good stuff in that, a lot of exciting stuff. Number 3, probably the most famous Buster Keaton, maybe even filmed to me before I knew anything about Buster Keaton. It's called Cops. One thing leads to another and he gets chased by the entire police force. Lots of him running away from the camera with hundreds of police chasing him running towards the camera with hundreds of police chasing him. Lots of fun. From 1922. 1922 also a film called Daydreams. Buster wants to marry his girl, the father disapproves, so he's going to go to the city and get a job. And he does lots of jobs, and it's fun to see him do all these different jobs. And I just thought, I think it was the first time I'd watched this, because some of these of my favourites here in this list I'd seen before, some I hadn't. This is one I hadn't seen before. I just thought it was a fun watch. But number 1 is another one I'd never seen before, from 1920, called 1 Week. Buster and his girl are married. They're newlyweds. They get a prefabricated house, boxes with numbers on them. Build number 1 box, then build number 2 box, and you have a lovely house. Only the boxes get sabotaged by someone, like the 1 gets changed to a 7 and things like that. And it ends up looking like some house out of a German expressionist film. And there's a scene towards the end when the house is on some train tracks and he tries to move the house. That's hilarious. Just a great, exciting, fun film. And 1 Week is my favourite Buster Keaton short film. So that's it. All of these are I think all of these in some way or another are available on YouTube. So there's no excuse for anyone not to watch them. They're short, you can knock out a couple in a couple of hours, but they're my favourite Buster Keaton short films.